Update: very little is known about Cyberpunk 2077 at the moment, other than the fact that it's still in development. However, one developer has drawn the attention of fans on Twitter recently by asking gamers what their dream RPG would involve. Associate Design Director Kevin Rowley specifically asked this question with regards to side activities away from the main quest. Rowley then also asked what they'd like to see happen if they landed a headshot against an enemy that's a much higher level than them. A highly specific question, but one that garnered a lot of responses. Rowley did clarify that he was just asking fans questions, and nothing was related to Cyberpunk 2077 itself. However, if he was inspired by any of the answers in the Twitter thread, there's a good chance it could have an impact on the game he's working on. Original article continues below. Following on from the wild success of The Witcher 3, isn't going to be easy, but with Cyberpunk 2077, we think CD Projekt Red might have a pretty good shot at it. In this new IP, they're moving from the gritty, high fantasy world of the continent to the gritty, science fiction world of a neon cyberpunk metropolis. This game looks like it's going to offer a significant aesthetic refresh from The Witcher 3, but hopefully without abandoning everything we loved about it in terms of gameplay, themes and tone. Of course, at the moment we don't know all that much about Cyberpunk 2077. The internet is crawling with news and rumors, though, so we've collected everything that's been said about the game here for your convenience, and we'll be constantly updating this page as more details emerge. Cut to the chase: what is it? A brand new IP from CD Projekt Red, the studio behind The Witcher 3. When can I play it? There's no official release date, but 2019 seems likely. What will it play on PS4, Xbox One and PC, and when expect the 4K console iterations? 2 trailer and screenshots after an extremely short title reveal trailer. In 2013 we were treated to a more than 2-minute long teaser trailer. Although it didn't reveal much about what will be in the actual game, it did, however, capture Cyberpunk's futuristic setting incredibly well and let us know that when it comes we can expect something dark, dangerous and visually stunning. At the end it also looks like we get a look at the braindance technology discussed further down. Image 1 of 2 screenshots. Image 2 of 2 art screenshot. In the game's official teaser trailer it stated that the game will be coming when it's ready. But for now it appears that CD Projekt Red is hoping that it will be sometime in early 2019. In an investor call in early 2016 it was suggested that Cyberpunk 2077 would be released before June 2019. It was also said in this call that CD Projekt Red is planning to release 2 new AAA RPGs before 2021. It was later clarified in forums that Cyberpunk 2077 would be the first of these games to arrive, and work on the second would not start before Cyberpunk 2077 was finished. Considering The Witcher 3 took around 3.5 years to develop, a 2019 release doesn't seem unmanageable for the studio, as well as a deadline they've no doubt set for themselves. The studio also has a deadline from the Polish government. In December of last year they were given a grant of more than $5 million from the government to research new game techniques related to multiplayer, animation and city creation. The sizable sum came with a project deadline attached, and if it does relate to Cyberpunk 2077 it'll mean the game really does have to be released in 2019. The government said so, which ironically isn't particularly Cyberpunk. In a recent financial presentation, CD Projekt Red has revealed that at the moment Cyberpunk 2077 is under intensive development and that there are more than 300 developers actively working on it. For context, there are currently 100 developers working across Gwent and The Witcher 3's 4K patch at the moment. There was no more information on the game's progress during the presentation, but the company's president and joint CEO Adam Kosinski said there would be a moment in time when he and the developers will be able to show off what they've achieved. News and features: it's going to be bigger than The Witcher 3. It would have been a pretty safe guess to say that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be a big game, but in an interview with MCB in 2015, visual effects artist Jose Teixeira said it's going to be far, far bigger than anything the studio has ever done. In fact, he said that The Witcher 3 was being treated as a learning experience, and that they could do better. To do better, the studio has doubled in size, with studio head Adam Badowski saying that after The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk 2077 needs to be even better, even bigger, even more revolutionary than what had originally been planned. Yeah, we'll be traveling on more advanced tech than boats and horses, so we know the game map is going to be intimidatingly big. How will we get around it then? Well, fortunately, moving out of the high fantasy realm gives CD Projekt Red a little more freedom when it comes to creating vehicles. Don't expect horses and basic boats here. A job listing for a senior vehicle artist for the studio said they'd be expected to work on incredibly complex vehicles, planes, bikes, robots and mechanics. It'll have a big single-player story. Don't imagine we'll shock many people when we say this, but Cyberpunk 2077 will take place in the year 2077. Specifically, CD Projekt Red has confirmed it'll be set in a place called Night City. Night City's streets will be huge, filthy, and infested with drug problems. As you'd expect from the cyberpunk genre, there'll be a huge wealth gap, where the rich and corporations preside over poverty-stricken citizens, many of whom are driven into gangs, desperate for escape. Many of the poor residents of Night City turn to an addictive escape known as braindance, which for just a few hours allows them to feel physically and mentally like they're anyone else. According to CD Projekt Red, they're digital recordings of a person's experience. The viewer can stream a brain dance directly into his neural system via special brain augmentations, called a BD player. Brain dances allow the viewer to experience all brain processes registered, including emotions, muscle movements and all stimuli perceived by the recording person. Brain dance experiences that place you in the lives of the rich and glamorous are naturally sold by corporations. However, much darker and illegal brain dances that can turn those using them into bloodthirsty killers are also distributed on the black market. In this incredibly dark world, you'll play a young man that's been raised in the lowest section of society but wants to make something of himself and rise out of the gutter. Like most cyberpunk protagonists, we imagine he'll be something of an anti-hero and find himself embroiled in the criminal underworld, manipulated and forced into difficult situations. How brain dances will be used by or on the protagonist is unclear. The game will be an RPG like The Witcher 3, and video game character progression will fit in well to Cyberpunk's world of physical and mental augmentations. It's based on the Cyberpunk board games, the creator of which, Mike Pondsmith, has been working closely with the development team to ensure it stays true to the source material and doesn't lose the cyberpunk at its core. This contrasts with the studio's relationship with the author of the Witcher novels, Andrzej Sapkowski, who has always been ambivalent about the games, but there will be multiplayer elements. It was confirmed years ago that the game would have multiplayer elements, but what exactly they'll be is unclear. It was said, though, that the game would mainly focus on single-player, considering some of the grant CD Projekt Red received from the Polish government was to go towards creating new techniques that included multiplayer experiences. We're expecting something exciting and refreshing. Rumors and things we'd like to see combat inspired by the original tabletop RPG. We know that the designer of the tabletop RPG Cyberpunk, on which Cyberpunk 2077 is based, is heavily involved in the creation of the game. We hope his involvement extends to the game's combat, because the combat system he created in his own game was fairly revolutionary for the tabletop genre. Rather than involving drawn-out and long turns, it was fast, brutal, gritty and overall perfectly suited to the spirit of cyberpunk. A big part of cyberpunk combat involves upgrading your body with new abilities and robotics, which would be perfectly in line with a video game character development system like those created by CD Projekt Red. In Pondsmith's game, bodily enhancement has to be carefully considered. It's a balancing act where every benefit has a drawback. When a player makes robotic additions to themselves, they reduce their humanity and empathy, leading to an uncontrollable state of cyberpsychosis. This has the potential to be a really interesting system if it's adapted for the game, and could be used in a similar manner to excessive consumption of combat-enhancing potions in The Witcher. Keep checking back here for all the latest Cyberpunk 2077 news.